Well, it's been an exciting meeting at ASH for researchers and patients in the field of chronic myeloid leukemia. We've heard more about the potential of the very exciting new kinase inhibitor, asciminib, and its potential to be combined with ponatinib in patients with very difficult to treat mutations. And that work has really given us new leads as to how we might be able to use these drugs together. So I find that very exciting. The timing is good there because the findings from the phase 1 asciminib study are being published tomorrow in the New England Journal of Medicine, and I think that's really is quite a revolutionary new drug in chronic myeloid leukemia, and we're going to hear a lot more about it at future ASH meetings. The other important developments in CML are the final reports of the INEST-ND study, which was the large global comparison of imatinib with nilotinib for frontline treatment. And the 10-year data really confirms what we were finding at 5 years, that survival is really no different using imatinib or nilotinib, nor is the progression-free survival. So we're not seeing substantial differences there in terms of survival. What we are seeing is patients achieving deeper molecular responses much earlier with nilotinib, and the difference is actually being maintained at 10 years. So there's a difference in the number of patients who achieve this deep response of about 20%. That's important because patients who achieve deep response have the potential to attempt treatment-free remission, and many patients today are excited about the possibility of getting off their treatment eventually. So this is an important observation that's been made. We do also observe in the INEST-ND study that there are substantially higher rates of cardiac events. We're talking about heart attack and stroke, but sometimes more minor events, but certainly there are higher rates on the nilotinib arms than on the imatinib arm. And I think that raises the issue of being very careful as to which patients you treat with nilotinib. You want to avoid it in patients who have a significant risk of cardiac events, but for younger patients with low risk, it's a very, very good choice. So that's been an important observation. We've made great progress in chronic myeloid leukemia over the last 20 years. We've gone from a disease with a 10-year survival of 20% to a 10-year survival of almost 90%. So it's been a really exciting era. But today there are still substantial unmet needs for our patients with CML. First of all, we do have about 5 to 10% who progress to blast crisis or need to have a bone marrow transplant to get appropriate outcomes, better outcomes. We also have a large number of patients who we can't get into treatment-free remission, who need to be on their drug, perhaps long-term, even for the rest of their lives. And our challenge today is to try and develop better ways to achieve treatment-free remission, or we could think about that as cure, because we know it's possible for some patients, and if we can understand that process, we might be able to make it possible for many, many more patients. That's the challenge for us today. And we've made some exciting progress towards that, and we've heard some of the updates at ASH that lead us to believe that we will be able to recruit more patients to treatment-free remission, but there's a need for a lot of collaborative work around the world to get that into reality. I'm hoping that in 1 year's time we'll be hearing more about the potential use of asciminib, the new kinase inhibitor that works by a different mechanism than every other kinase inhibitor, highly targeted to the leukemic cells and showing very, very low toxicity. So I think that's a very exciting breakthrough, and I do hope that by next ASH we'll hear something about its potential to be used in patients who are resistant to other agents assessed against bosutinib, which is the randomized study that's currently proceeding. We also, by next year, want to hear more about our capacity to understand which patient can safely stop drug and which patients need to stay on drug long term. It's a concerted effort to understand that at a deeper level, and I hope that by next year's ASH we'll have some really important findings there.